When it comes to database table diagrams, it's going to be important to understand how their relationships differ from class diagrams. We will start with a class diagram that has all four relationships that we talked about, the one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many, and generalizations. And these multiplicities that we're seeing right here are the ones that we used in our class diagram. So we have 0 to 1, the 1 to 1, 0 to many, and 1 to many. So these quantify the multiplicity between the classes. And you can see that here I have an example, an example of a course registration class diagram. This will be probably new to you. Let's take a quick look. You can see these relationships being used, 0 to many to 1 to 1, 1 to 1 to 0 to many. So here we have the multiplicities being used on the class diagrams. However, in database table diagramming, we use these a little bit differently. And we use these to name our relationships. So this 0 to 1 and this 1 to 1 represent the quantity. So we would just say 1 on either one of these situations. And 0 to many or 1 to many would represent many. So whenever we would see this side, we would see 1. And whenever we'd see a side that has this, we'd say many. So we'd have relationships that are 1 to many to many. Let me show you what I mean. So here I have between person and person list, we have a many because we have 0 to many, and a 1 because we have a 1 to 1. So this would be a 1 to many relationship if we were able to diagram that. So here I have some examples. If we have a 0 to 1 with another 0 to 1, it would be a 1 to 1. So any of these scenarios, 0 to 1 to 1 to 1, because notice none of them have the many symbol, that means that since both sides have some sort of 1 on that right side, then that means that it's a 1 to 1 relationship. And then here we have the 1 to many. So here you can see we have 1 on one side and then many on the other. And we have 1 on this right side and then many on this side. So it doesn't matter which side they're on. It just matters that one side has many and one side has 1. Here we have many to many, so many on this left side and many on this right side. And it's the same for all three of these. And it doesn't matter what's on the left. So if this in class diagramming, this is said 0 to many, but in database table diagramming, we have a many to many. So we use these just a little bit differently. We have a few different relationships between classes, including the 1 to many to many, and 1 to 1. But we also have generalization, and these are represented by these types of arrows in our class diagram, but they are represented a bit differently in our database table diagram. So we'll go over that. In order to map our class diagram to a database table diagram, we're going to want to follow steps in order. So in Canvas, I have listed a map for mapping class to database diagram. And if you follow every one of these steps, if you make sure that you do each and every step, you will correctly have mapped your class diagram to a database table diagram. It is not an option unless you have these steps memorized. It is not an option. You need this sheet of paper. You need this PDF. So immediately go and pull this up and start looking at these steps. Start trying to understand them. We're going to go over them, but this is going to be your key for having a correct class diagram to database table diagram transition. And so we'll go through these steps in just a second, but there are only 8 of them. There are 8 and then there's substeps between them. So they're really not that difficult. It will address every single step, beginning with creating the table. So if you follow these steps, you will have a correct database table diagram based off of your class diagram.